Bitcoin has been dropping like a stone of late. I'm going to show you exactly how Stonksy has performed on it, Ethereum, and other altcoins. Do make sure you drop a like on this video, and of course make sure you subscribe and pick up Stonksy if you haven't. Click the link in the description for that. But of course, as you can see, Bitcoin is down to its lowest level minus this wick in quite a while relative to the past couple of months. And I just want to show you the zoomed out 1 hour chart. Now, as you can see, the biggest moves in the market, Stonksy catches, caught this big drop off that we had here, all the way down from 116 down towards 109. It then caught the monster rally up towards new all-time highs, and then we had some chop. Of course, you will see periods of chop, you know, obviously this one here, but that is just part of trading. It's part of the game, and it's taking losses with wins. But if you notice on the 1 hour chart, obviously we're going back towards, you know, the mid towards the late end of September. Stonksy has caught 4 monster trades there. 4 monster trades. We've got one here, one here. The massive drop off that we had last week. At the time of recording, this is last week. The latest drop off that we're currently experiencing as I'm recording this video. So, you know, taking a few, you know, minor break even ones or small losses in there, it's just part of the game. It's part of trading, in it. The one thing you want to do as a trader and as an investor is catch the biggest moves in the market, and of course that is what Stonksy does. This is the 1 hour time frame. This is not looking at obviously the other great time frames that we like to look at, such as the 5 minute for catching, you know, the more frequent moves, the smaller moves, the moves where, you know, you trade it up and then back down or vice versa. This is catching the biggest Bitcoin moves, and of course the biggest moves in the market in turn, because, you know, of course when Bitcoin moves to the downside and the upside in volatile big moves, of course that takes it the market both directions. But as you can see on the screen, the proof is in the pudding. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 massive Bitcoin moves that Stonksy has caught absolutely perfectly, and yeah, it continues to absolutely smash the market and obviously give users the ability to enter and exit in the positions where the momentum is changing from bull to bearish. Now we've just flicked over to the Ethereum chart, and as you can see, it's the same story, minus of course we didn't get the green background on this run up, but Stonksy did catch this on various other time frames as well. But if you look at the 1 hour, basically if we're looking at the same time period, Stonksy has just been absolutely fantastic at catching the downside momentum on Ethereum. Of course, it caught this big drop here from 4,500 all the way down below 4k. Of course, we had the big run up then. This actually came into an area that we marked out on stream as well, so if you aren't watching the live streams, it's well worth doing, because we marked out this area on the live stream when ETH was on its way up as a potential short zone, and of course at the moment that has marked the local top. But of course we then got into the other one where we dropped down last week, then pushed back up, and of course currently sat in another one like Bitcoin on the 1 hour as well. And as you can see, that is pushing all the way back down. We've tested, you know, some local demand, but ultimately Stonksy is still red, so we're still looking for potentially more downside at the time of recording, that is. But you can see again the benefit there on the 1 hour, just absolutely nailing the market. And like I said, if you zoom out to the other time frames that we like to use and, you know, we recommend, Stonksy did catch the move up on Ethereum on that one, just not on the 1 hour. But it did have, as you can see if we zoom out, a bullish confirmation come in and around 4,150, which, you know, ultimately led the price up towards past 4,700. So still a win for Stonksy there if you utilize the arrows as well. And yeah, it's doing fantastic work on Ethereum too. If we move over to some other alts such as Aster, you know, it's been catching, this thing has been bleeding off all since the time it made its all-time high. But of course it's catching the nice legs of momentum, so, you know, one leg down, consolidate, next leg down. So it's catching the great moves on things like Aster, of course, you know, one of the most traded things and the things with the highest interest on it at the moment in crypto. But then if we move over to something like Sol, you know, big staple in the market again, you know, one leg down. Notice that Stonksy was actually red on all these before we got the market drop. So that big liquidation event from last week, Stonksy was already showing that there was bearish momentum in the market. And of course, like I mentioned, you know, some break even, some small losses. Ultimately we are into a red background again at the moment. And if we just flick through some others, you know, like Dogecoin again, it was red before the market crash, it was red after the market crash. So, you know, if you wasn't around at your screen during the time, you would have still got a really good short on these things. Adder, again, same story, red for the big crash, showing bearish momentum in there, leveled off a bit, red again, down much further. So this is just rinse and repeat on Stonksy, and we're just looking at the 1 hour chart. You know, the 5 minute chart is absolutely fantastic for nailing these types of moves as well, because the backgrounds even on things on the 5 minute can stay open for a while, but particularly, you know, them quicker moves, them maybe day trades, scalps, whatever it is. Stonksy's having a real good time of it at the moment, and you could be benefiting from that if you aren't, obviously, by using Stonksy and coming joining us. Of course, the thing with the most attention on it, just, you know, market wide at the moment, is gold, as it just keeps setting high after high after high. At the time of recording, it's actually setting new all-time high on every single day so far this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Unbelievable stuff from gold. And as you can see, Stonksy is still green on it, all from down here. It did have one leg up there, and this has been, you know, a repeat on gold and Stonksy all the way up. I do have some other videos on the channel on gold and also trading it on BLOFIN, so do go and check them out now after you've watched this video. But, you know, whether it's the 1 hour, 5 minute, maybe the 15 minute, or you're a super high time frame trader and want moves like these, you know, obviously coming in for over 100% gain on gold, you know, maybe you want to catch the kind of macro moves. Obviously this works for the trend down as well. You know, at some point the trend in, you know, the stock market, gold, inevitably obviously Bitcoin and crypto as well, those trends will reverse and we will enter some form of downtrend. It's just how markets work. And of course you can be ahead of the game and on top of that by using Stonksy and, you know, having that higher time frame outlook as well. But yeah, the hourly and the 5 minute have been absolutely nailing it this week and continues to perform. And it just shows you obviously the value that users are getting when they're signed up to Stonksy. And to round off, here's a great example of, you know, how the 5 minute has been going on altcoins. Of course, Pump, one of the most volatile altcoins at the moment, and one of them ones with still the highest attention on it. Absolutely perfect from the short entry on the 5 minutes. Now actually closing it out and going long. And if you notice on the long side, we have got a double confirmation. What is a double confirmation? It's when you get the background color change plus the arrow. And this particularly works very well on the 5 minute. So if you want to know more about that, come into my live streams, ask me, or there is a video on the channel called Mastering the 5 minute chart. That is also available for you to watch, and that explains what a double confirmation is. But this is very specific to the 5 minute chart. You do get the double confirmations on other charts such as the 1 hour as well, but it works exceptionally well on the 5 minutes. So do look into that if you haven't already. Well worth your while, especially, you know, pairing it with, say, the 5 minute and the 1 hour chart together to get the best entries and obviously catching the best moves. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully you know, maybe protected yourself from these drops or caught them by shorting. If you didn't, you know what to do. Of course, come and try us at Stonksy. The link is in the description. You can get 20% off your first month with code BOT20. And yeah, you know, invest in yourself, invest in your trading, give yourself the best chance at being successful, and of course catching the moves, whether it be up or down, and protecting your capital. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining, and bye bye for now.